What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV, back at it again with another banger, my friends. So kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
It's a tough night for LSU fans, losing their 17th straight game against South Carolina, man. Haven't beat them in some years. Coach Mulkey still trying to get that monkey off her back, but she is really assuring her fans that they are ahead of schedule. Just in her 4th season right now, they've already got a natty. They're much further ahead than Don Staley and South Carolina were in year 4. So we do have to give it time. Like, Don Staley's been there, 17 years at South Carolina. Coach Mulkey is pleading with the fan base for more time to keep building to catch up.
I learned we can hang with the best in the country. And I do think they're the best in the country. I know UCLA put it on them, but I do think, look, I don't know that I've ever coached against a team that's got 10 McDonald's All-Americans on a roster. Oh, how do you even get 10 on a roster? And that's what we faced today. And what a challenge it was. And it was an enjoyable game to coach in. And man, was it good for women's basketball, but it was good for the SEC.
How do you get over the hump?
What is the hump? Beating them? Well, let me ask you this. What's most important in sports? Winning national championships, winning conference championships, or just beating a team you hadn't beat in the 5 times you played them? Which one's the most important? You dang right. You stay in this business long enough, it's a game of runs. When I started at Baylor University, I couldn't beat Oklahoma. Stayed after, got tired of the sports writer asking me about it. He quit asking and we caught up with him. I know you look for different things. I get all that. But at the end of the day, this is the beginning of the 4th year of my tenure at LSU. And if I ever put beating South Carolina as a priority over natties, they're too good to do that right now. Dawn's been here 17 years. But I do remember playing them when I was at Baylor, when I had been there 17, 18, 19 years. You don't focus on those things, Reed. You focus on the bigger picture. And the bigger picture right now for LSU and for South Carolina is we're doing our part in women's basketball to bring great recognition and great games.
Some high praise, man. Some high praise for South Carolina. And she's spitting a bit right there. Like, it really has jumped and really catapulted into a rivalry, most people would say. But other people feel like, hey, if you haven't beat them, is it really, though, a rivalry? Truly. Because it seems kind of one-sided right now. Usually the games are competitive. It's a hot ticket and one of the most highly anticipated matchups in the SEC, period. People are calling it the new Gina Auriemma versus Pat Summitt in the making right now. It's exciting. LSU has a championship. They're deservingly so mentioned with the nation's best. And I agree with Coach Mulkey said about them being able to hang with the nation's best. And South Carolina being the best team in the country. But LSU, man, she is still very early in her tenure. She's just made a lot of noise. And it kind of feels like she's been there longer than she has. Because I was even kind of like, dang, year 4? Yeah, like, bro, Mulkey is doing work. Early in her tenure, she is way ahead of schedule. She built this program from the ground up, something that Don Staley can relate to. It took time for Don Staley. Coach Mulkey, honestly, if we being real, y'all, she hit the ground running with LSU and turned them into a powerhouse basically overnight through recruiting and the transfer portal. So salute to her, man. I do agree, like, there's a lot of pressure. And there's a lot of instant gratification in this generation now where people want to see you win immediately. And Coach Mulkey did that. She won immediately. They have one of the most passionate fan bases, and she has one of the most talented teams in the country, man. People said LSU hadn't been tested. They had been tested coming into this matchup. Not to the stakes of South Carolina, but LSU had been pushed to the brink and had to overcome some adversity this year. They got a lot of new pieces. The bench really didn't step up. An X factor, I thought, in this game, Kaylin Gilbert had, one bucket? Like, it was a tough night for everybody, but Aneesah Morrow for the most part. She missed some bunnies too, but she had her way. The rest of the team really didn't show up. I know a lot of opportunities were missed. They got some good shots that didn't fall, and a lot of LSU fans are on the refs' rumps, blaming the refs for that loss. I mean, man, South Carolina shot like 26 free throws compared to 9 for LSU? It was very, very lopsided in that stat. So LSU had 19 personal fouls to 12. South Carolina shot 26 free throws. Like I said, LSU only shot 9. And fans are definitely pointing out that aspect of the game, man. One fan said South Carolina and the refs versus LSU every time. This is terrible. Can't even enjoy the game. They literally cheat and letting SC run 10 seconds off the clock before starting. They shot clock after Morrow, but LSU down 7. I want to say this too, man. First off, I just want to say this before that. So I'm not wanting to blame the refs and cry about officiating or nothing like that. But the foul discrepancy was a lot, and that last foul on Aneesah Morrow was absolutely Bush League. That was some BS. Her foul out of the game, that, for one, you can't call that a foul ever. But that, you got to think about the situation as an officiator. Like, bro, seriously? The game on the line, like, that the game is not over yet. It's still within reach. They cut it to single digits, and you take out Aneesah Morrow with her 5th foul on that. The big three was in foul trouble basically majority of the game. And we saw the depth of LSU get exposed because when a lot of those players, Kaylin Gilbert, Last Poa, Samaya Smith played better. She rebounded really well. But when a lot of these, Jersey Wolfenbarger, Miracle Shepherd got in briefly, a lot of these players really didn't contribute anything to the game, man. And to be honest, it felt like the rest of the group, like the refs definitely impacted the game, but I'm not going to say that that's why they won. LSU had plenty of chances to win this game. They had, the refs aren't making you turn the basketball over like 17 times. You know what I'm saying? They had chances. They made runs. They punched back. They just ran out of gas, it felt like, man. We talked about the depth and the starters of this team getting worn down by South Carolina throwing waves of talent. Aneesah Morrow showed up, though, man, with the big double-double. Out-rebounded everybody. They couldn't keep her off the glass. And Coach Don Staley gave her big praise as well.
I thought that, I thought we fought, we fought. I know Aneesah is really, really hard guard. Like, she is, and I told our team, there isn't anybody that we've played this year that's going to play like she plays. No one, right? And I don't think there's going to be another person that plays like her. We were able to just fight, and although we didn't come up with the rebound, we knocked it out. Dead ball situations where we can actually defend and try to box out again. Like, but she had her way with us. But I thought our guards did a really good job at gang rebounding. If we didn't get it, then we're able to establish setting up our defense and trying it again. And fortunately for us, they didn't score a whole lot off of their second chance points after maybe the first or second quarter.
It is very likely that we could get a round 2 in the SEC tournament, man. And these are, I know, Oklahoma, Texas. There's been some, Alabama. There's been some other, Tennessee. There's been some schools that are making some noise in the SEC that may have a chance to dethrone LSU or South Carolina in the SEC tournament potentially. But it's looking like these two are the class of the SEC, and we could see a rematch. I think that rematch goes a lot differently. I think LSU plays a cleaner game, and I don't think South Carolina gets as much home cooking. Now, South Carolina deserves all the praise. They dominated. They came in. They made things tough for this LSU offense. They limited transition buckets, and they executed a perfect game plan defensively in the second half. 11 blocks, a season-high total for them. It wasn't just the bigs. The guards were out there throwing stuff into the stands, too. They outplayed LSU. The crowd was magnetic. It was packed in there. It was loud. It was a ruckus crowd. They were not a lot of LSU fans up in there. It was a whole lot of scarlet out there, man. And I think that played a difference as well. Kind of just sucked the air out of LSU. It was a defensive battle, and that played into South Carolina's strengths, to be honest with y'all. But y'all let me know. Give me your initial reactions and what y'all expected from this game. And what about a potential round 2? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, comment, like, share, all that good stuff. Join our memberships. We've got exclusive content daily, weekly, whenever you need it. Hey, until next time, we out.